Hello, and welcome back for our next episode of Standing Stones. I'm excited to get started and get back into this story. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we jump into everything, though, I'm going to say a few words about sponsors, and then let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into it. So first off, our sponsors, which are in chat now, is Fundamental RPG. It's the system that this game runs on. It's a simple D20 system that's not tied to any genre, so you can use it to tell any story that you would like, and it's relatively easy to pick up and run with. You can pick up your physical copy on Amazon, or if you prefer the digital version, you can pick up a PDF at coffee.com/raven, like it says at the bottom of the screen. And currently Hey, thanks for that resub. Currently until the end of the month, it is half off, so you can pick it up for less than $10, so I highly recommend doing that. Also at coffee.com/raven, you can find Intrepid gear, which is adventuring gear for real life. It's a bunch of really cool products with a tabletop theme to them, including apparel and drinkware and things like that. And then Die Hard Dice, which are incredible dice and dice accessories and other things adjacent. You can find all of their stuff at dieharddice.com, and if you use the code BLACKFEATHER, all one word with a capital B, you can get 10% off your entire order. Thanks so much for the resub. And I highly recommend checking out the Fae Bloom set specifically. It is really cool. I've actually got my eye on it, and there's a link directly to that set in the chat. Thank you again to Pat and IC for those resubs. Let me know in chat who you want advantages to go to, and I will get those on the board. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. And then other random sort of announcement that is tabletop adjacent. There is a link in chat for the Animus lore and roleplay server. It's something I just started recently. If you enjoy the Animus Absentis show and that whole world, I just made a lore server to kind of keep everything straight for the entire galaxy with the different factions and characters and things like that. But also, the other half of it is a giant roleplay sandbox, essentially, and we just started a big event. So if that sounds like something that you would enjoy playing around with, there's the link in chat. You can join the server, make a character, and have a lot of fun. All that out of the way, we'll go to our top left with Zan. Tell us a little bit about Finn and yourself.
Yes, I will do exactly that. So, hello, I'm Zan. I am a professional GM and content creator for a whole bunch of great games out there, doing wonderful tabletop things all over the internets. You can find me here over on the Coffee Nebula, over on a Tactics channel, or my channel as well at various points during the week that I'll go into later. And I am playing Finn Karst, who is a riverbound and is not doing well. They have up to this point been 99.98% anxiety, or water, with the remaining 0.02 being anxiety, and now we're seeing a little bit of a different composition because there's a lot of poisonous pollen and stuff, and so they were kind of like in a bathtub with cement and stuff, where we left off, not really having a great time.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, that was rough. Poor Finn. Next we've got IC. Tell us a little bit about Veshna and yourself.
Alrighty, team. I am IC Historian at IC Historian, all the places on the internet that I feel like being found, and I am playing Veshna. Veshna Brevik is now a fox, which was a new development, so we'll see what happens with that. But she is a sort of Harriet the Spy type character who's very used to, figuring things out in town and whatnot, and is kind of having a hard time adjusting to not being in town. And, it's kind of just been like inner feelings for a little while. It's been a lot. So yeah, I'm excited. I play lots of games with lots of cool people. Many of these cool people, in fact, I play lots of games with. So yeah, it's a good time. And that's me.
Awesome. Next we got Jay. Tell us a little bit about Beckney and yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay, or Alien Jays. I'm a writer and a game dev, and you can find me on Twitter and itch.io, where probably my voice doesn't sound so hoarse for whatever reason. Tonight I'm playing Beckney, who is the pangolin sibling to Pyron. No, they're not. They're a goblin. I almost had it. They were raised as a pangolin, but they are in fact a goblin. And they are currently trying to decide what is best for the goblin baby that they, as a group, and Bethany especially, has adopted. And they're not really sure, just like me, what's gonna go on about that. But they're excited to see what happens with it.
Awesome. Looks like I'm next. I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things that I do, most of which are tabletop related or adjacent. My link tree is there in chat if you want to check out all my random various social media links and whatnot. If you can't see chat, it's linktr.ee/the Raven, like it says below my face. And then I play Callie, or Cauliflower. She is your typical, like, anime fighter protagonist. She's not super bright, but she is really cares about her friends and enjoys fighting, obviously. She also has a monkey tail, but she's a lot of fun to play, and I'm excited to see what trouble she gets into today. Next we've got Pat. Tell us a little bit about Pyron and yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Pat. I'm a tactric online. I play games and stuff on here, my channel, kind of all around. And today I'm playing Pyron, who is a pangolin. Also fully believes Beckney is a pangolin. I don't know what you were talking about, Jay. Yeah, he's a currently sad pangolin theater nerd, aspiring magician, all around center of attention, who is trying to figure out what to do with his life because he's never going back to that town, at least.
Absolutely not. Awesome. And then next we've got Hannah. Tell us a little bit about Sage and yourself.
How can you be sad after you put on that excellent show with the fawns? You crazy. So I'm Hannah, or Wohannah, on the vague interwebs. And tonight I will be playing Sage, who is a fawn character. And they just got to meet a sibling they had no idea they had, and all of their nieces and nephews. So many.
They're called nibblings.
All of my fawn nibblings. That's a weird word. And feeling very.
It's like your siblings' children.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Who are sort of in the niece and nephew category, right?
That makes sense.
Nibblings. I did some research.
I like it. Feeling very valid after their opinion was respected very much by their sibling. Very excited.
Awesome.
Feeling a little weird about aggro Sage.
Yeah.
But it'll be fine.
Just remember, you're the real Slim Sagey.
Right, we have to shut down the stream. You're done.
Yep,
You're done. Goodbye, everyone.
To be clear, there's a couple different ones for like what they would call you. But I think so the word sibling comes from Old English. It means related by blood. So if you're like a sibling to the parent, you might be a pibling. I don't know. That's a one option. Nibblings and piblings.
I feel like Ling implies a younger relationship. Anyway, I'm a pip.
I don't know.
That's really interesting.
So at some point, though, we should probably decide if they're going to call you anything. Maybe they'll just call you not aggro Sage.
Chill Sage.
Old lady, yeah, old one Sage.
I'm all 15 and I'm already an old one.
Right.
Yep.
Could be aged Sage.
Aged Saged. Saged.
Oh my goodness. Anyways,
Sage.
last but not least, Calliope, tell us a little bit about yourself and this really cool world that you put together, and take it away.
Hello, I'm Calliope. I'm your storyteller this evening. I am a PhD student and a middle school teacher who's interested in role-playing games for engagement and social skills in middle schoolers. And I do this, and on Monday nights over on Zan's channel, we have been exploring a whole bunch of interesting systems that are not D20 based and are sort of really out there, and it's been really fun. And we had a good discussion on what is a game, like what constitutes a game versus just an exercise yesterday, and that was really fun. So we had a break last week, and so we have to sort of get back. We're sort of at a tipping point in a lot of ways, and we left with everyone sort of settling down in various places to go to sleep. And we're going to start up. We're in the home of all the fawns. And this is the first time Sage has known that there were other ones other than them and Faunus. So it's been, I think, a big change, but there are many of them here, and they're all sort of asleep. So very early the next morning, there is a knock on the door of the little cabin or the little room or whatever that Beckney and Baby Limebug are in. And the door opens a little bit, and it's Lavender, who is one of the satyrs or fawns. And they say, hello, are you awake?
Oh, I am now.
I have something for you. Can I come in?
Sure. And Beckney will kind of get up and make themselves, presentable with the kid.
Yeah,
Is
you
the
need a
baby
minute?
still
That's
sleeping?
fine.
No,
I don't. Only sort of. Babies sort of
Kinda
sleep
dozing.
when they want.
Yeah,
So it's probably just they're sort of on your head somewhere. I think just sort of like playing with your hair and like
Okay.
mouthing you. And Lavender says, okay, so I'm excited. I have something to show you. Well, you're gonna love this. Last night, we have another sibling who lives kind of far away, but I sent it out. Anyway, I have this for you. And they hand you a lens. And they say, put it up to your eye. And if you adjust it, you should be able to see more clearly.
Does it actually change?
Absolutely. It's like it's a monocle. It's like it's an adjustable, it's eyeglasses.
Nice. Is it adjustable in that it slides kind of?
I think it works sort of like binoculars.
Okay.
Except it's a monocular.
Right.
It's a monocle, I guess, but it's like you can change it, shift it some so that, because I don't think Lavender would know your exact prescription.
No, yeah.
So
enough that you can kind of compensate for it. Okay.
And they say, oh, what do you think? Hi. And you can see them much more clearly than you ever could now. And everything is sort of in excruciating detail.
That's really good.
Oh,
They'll put it up to their other eye, because one eye is probably a little different than the other.
Well, so just point of order.
Yeah.
I sort of thought Beckney only had one eye.
The other eye is mostly covered over, so it's this eye that's kind of covered over by skin.
Great. Okay, so it makes sense for it to be a monocle.
Yeah.
Okay. Lavender wasn't trying to be trashy about your eye.
No, for sure. But yeah, they do it on the one eye first
just
to see.
Okay.
And then the second one.
And they're like, oh my gosh, ready? This is gonna be so crazy. And they take the lantern out so that you can actually see. It's not super bright, but you can see the room so much more clearly because it's well lit.
Whoa. Is this what you all see every day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Isn't Birch so clever? They they figured this out, that if you put different lenses, people can see differently.
It's really good. It's really hard to look through, though.
It's going to take some getting used to, but I wanted to give it to you because I thought it might be useful.
No, I appreciate it. It's really nice. Thank you.
And it has like, I think it has some sort of thing so that like you could wear it on your head if you wanted to.
Oh, that I was gonna ask because it's a lot to.
Right. No, it's not. It's not like opera glasses. Right.
Like what?
So what is Beckney thinking?
Beckney's thinking they've never seen what they look like.
Yeah.
And they're not mentioning it because they kind of want to do that alone.
Right.
But they're realizing they've never really seen like what they look like, aside from very kind of, maybe like a really close sketch that someone has done, or like really close to the water, but obviously nothing aside from kind of the eyes and the nose and forehead. So, yeah.
Well, I think the other thing that happens is that Limebug wakes up and is interested in it. And you can see Limebug with much more clarity than you ever could before. And they're really
Again,
cute.
it's a lot to look at. But yeah, Beckney is very like surprised by how like clear the vision is.
Yeah. And they have these like little cheeky cheeks and like one really stupid little tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that babies have.
Like a little snaggle tooth, yeah.
Yeah, and like, sort of weird hair and like a fat little hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they like reach out and try to touch it.
And yeah, like Beckney kind of like keeps the hand away from smudging the lens because
Right.
they get that at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, is definitely playing carefully with it, with the baby.
Yeah. And I think this babe is really cute. Like, well, this is really the first time in your memory that you have seen a goblin. Well.
Yeah. Like really at all. Like the only things I really remember of goblins were the songs, and even those are kind of jumbled.
Right. So yeah, so Limebug looks at you and sort of reaches for your lens and is sort of making noises at you. And what is Beckney thinking when they look at Limebug?
I think the first thought that enters their head is, God, I hope I don't look like that. Because they have no idea, right? They have no clue what they looked like to other people. They just assumed they were kind of a greener pangolin. And yeah, their first thought, which kind of catches them off guard, is, I hope I don't look like that. Yeah. That's there's not a lot else going on. They're just kind of playing with the baby and not really thinking about a lot of it, trying forcefully to not think about it because it raises some interesting implications about their upbringing. Yeah.
And Lavender sits on the bed and says, I don't want to pressure you. But if you're going to keep this, I mean, this is a goblin. You're a goblin. I can keep the baby. And I mean, they're certainly welcome to grow up here. We are good at that. Although we don't really come as very small babies. We have a lot of experience with babies. That being said, I think it likes you. They like you best. And while you're here, I could teach you how to take care of them a little better. Or
Do you know
do
how
they
far...
is Limebug their official name?
We've had this baby for what, 3 days?
Yeah, and you named them Limebug for now, is what you had said.
It's for now.
Well, one of the things that we do here is when someone new comes into the family, we have a naming ceremony. And if you'd like, we could have a naming ceremony for them.
You to just put names in a hat?
No, well, you're sort of, I mean, I think you'd have to stand in as the parent and decide.
Is that the person who draws from the hat?
Well, they're kind of the person who puts all the names into the hat. Or maybe just one name.
I don't have a hat.
We can solve that problem.
And they see, like, Beckney just seems super pleased, like, oh, okay, I got it. They're, like, mentally patting themselves on the back.
Oh, okay. Do you know how far the goblin village is from here?
It's pretty far. I mean, that's kind of why we live here. Because it's nice to sort of be away from everybody else sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty far. It's a pretty far, several days journey.
I gotta do something there, but if you could watch Limebug for now, and then I could come back and get him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it'll be safe for them.
I think
Or
you
us.
should give it. I think you should give them a name before, an official name before you go. So think about that, and maybe tonight or tomorrow, sometime before. I don't know when you're leaving, but I'm not trying to pressure you to leave either. But just sometime before you go.
We should do it after breakfast.
And they're sort of like thinking through. We can. It's often at night. It's a little more dramatic that way.
Oh.
Maybe we could get your
Does
brother
the
to
hat glow in the dark?
Oh, you just wait. It's great. When a new life comes into the family, it's a celebration.
Okay.
Okay. But you have to think about what the name is.
Don't we
Because
all put names in the...
It's you.
Oh.
I mean, you can ask for suggestions, but ultimately, you'll need to tell us what it is.
So I am the one who draws it from the hat. Okay, got it.
But you also put all the names into the hat.
Hmm?
Or you could just put it in your brain.
Swish 'em around.
You just put them in your brain.
I think the hat can hold more.
I'm gonna leave you with the lens.
Okay.
I think there's a lot, and I'm gonna let you think about it a little bit. But when it comes time, you have to tell us what the name is.
Okay. Thank you again for this.
You'll get used to it, I think. That's what Birch said.
That's a lot to look at.
There is. Don't look at the sun.
But kind of like...
Yeah, no, dude, like, come on.
I mean, I'm just saying, some of my siblings have.
I mean, when I was young.
I mean, I deal with small children a lot. I'm not trying to make assumptions, but okay, great. Yeah, not the sun. Okay. And I think they're gonna be like, and if you want breakfast, it is come on out. And they're gonna sort of go off.
Okay.
So in the meantime, I think, so this is sort of like just at dawn and so you're sort of doing whatever you're doing. How is Beckney going to choose this name?
seriously drawing lots. Like they're genuinely sold on the idea of putting names in a hat.
Yeah. So how are they going to get the name? Are they going to go around like ask everybody to put one in, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
During breakfast, probably.
Okay. I like that. In the meantime, I think at breakfast, there's definitely Lavender is definitely going to like connect with Pyron to see if there's some extra things, the extra special things we can do for pyrotechnics, but we'll get there. So at the same time, I think Veshna, you wake up and a couple things. One is there are many other tiny foxes, or like, well, not tiny, but like other youngish foxes who have all sort of joined you in a fox pile.
Okay.
Over the course of the night. And you, I think, wake up hearing some low conversation.
Okay.
And so the conversation is like this. Dill and Satriel and Sage are like looking in this pot of water of fen. And it does not look better. Like, if anything, it looks worse.
All my good confidence is gone now. Goodbye.
And Satriel is like, this is very concerning. Other ideas, thoughts?
Magic?
They turn to both of you and say, I don't want. I see you have stayed up all night long doing this.
No.
And I don't, and that's right. That's the right thing to do when you have a patient this sick.
Oh, yes, then.
But sometimes you just don't have the tools in the toolbox. And everything that we have been doing is everything that I would have been doing had you not been here, except better, because there have been 3 of us to do it and 3 ideas. This is not a failure on your part. Okay. It is a failure of our knowledge of what to do. Because your friend is not like us.
Silly question.
Yeah.
How far are we right now from water?
So, I don't know, not very.
Okay.
Necessarily.
So, all right. Like, when you say not very, do you mean like a half a day's walk, or do you mean like a 5-minute jaunt?
Well, there's like a well. Like, what kind of water do you mean?
So, I guess like, Fox Veshna doesn't really want to out herself as being here in this, like, in amongst. She doesn't want to out herself as you know, a fox in the fox house.
Okay.
Or a hen in the fox house, a cat in the fox. I don't know how that's gonna go, but she's listening and wondering if what Fen needs is fresh water. Like, there's been a lot of like straining out but there hasn't been a lot of putting back to dilute what's there.
Okay.
But like Veshta still is like, I don't know anything and I'm useless and I should just go home. So how, like, is the well like out in the yard?
Yes.
So I think Veshta is gonna like wriggle out from the other foxes.
Oh, your fox friend is totally on to you, by the way. Hey, what are we doing?
And she's
Are we gonna do something fun?
like when she speaks, it's in Fox, right?
Yeah.
And she's gonna say, they need the well. They need to get water from the well because you can't strain Fen out without putting anything clean back in. They need clean water. It'll help them filter out on their own. They know how to filter out on their own. They just don't have enough water.
You gotta tell them.
And so she's gonna kind of like yip around all three of the ankles, like kind of like a cat, because that's really what she has experience with. So it's a very kitten-esque fox who's like, yip, 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 hey, pay attention to me.
And I think as you're yipping, all the foxes get up and all start yipping. And going around like obnoxiously. There's like 8 or 10 little fox kits like yipping and like going around.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to roll a gut feeling.
Sure.
17. I'm like, there's all these foxes. Veshna's a fox person.
I want to say that despite Veshna feeling like she's really blending in, you guys totally know it's her. like this is what you do. Like what you do is like, you know what I mean? Like I think at least Satriel and like you're friends with her. Like I think you know that it's her, more or less.
But
like you've been sitting here all night looking at the foxes. When you're like sitting by the bedside of someone who's incredibly sick is equal parts terrifying and excruciatingly boring. Right? And same thing with a baby, by the way. It's like equal parts terrifying, excruciatingly boring.
It's either dying or it's not.
Right.
How do you even know the difference?
Right.
In the interest of keeping, like, because Sage cares very much about Veshna's feelings, so Sage will be like, look at this fox. I think it's trying to tell us something.
Veshna's gonna be like, oh, I'm such a good fox. I am so foxing it up right now. It's totally like the like delusional like starlet who, you know what I mean? Like it's like, I was really born to play Giselle, you know, with my 4 minutes of acting class. And she's gonna run out kind of in that way that cats do, where they go to the food bowl and then they come halfway back and they're like, okay, yep, and we're walking. Yeah,
and Satriel's like, oh, what? We should put little Fenny in the well? What is it, Lassie? No, she's not. They're not like that at all.
Yeah, she's gonna sit up on the well, like on the edge of the well, like not really knowing how foxes sit, but knowing how cats sit in that way that cats do when they're like, and this is empty. Huh. I don't have thumbs. I'm waiting.
So what is Veshna saying in Fox?
Veshna's like, he needs to come get the water. They need to come get the water.
Water, let's get water. Yeah, come on, let's go. It's boring in there. Let's go to the well. The well's awesome. And so like everybody's just sort of like cheering you on and like jumping around and like eating bugs.
Yeah.
So
and
cute.
she's just like sitting, staring, like unblinking into the room, the sick room, like you need to come get water.
No, Sage just come out with you. And is like looking at the well and like looks at Fox Session and is like, is this well like it's clean, obviously, right?
Yes.
Do we need would adding water? I wish I understood how fen folk work. Would adding water help? To replace.
And Satchel looks like very conspiratorially and says, "That's what the fox is saying."
And if Veshna, like if foxes had the same facial musculature as fox people in this world, you would see Veshna being like, "And thank you, Satriel, for that. Yes," and like looking like. And
listen, I'm new to listening to animals.
No, and Satriel's like, "No, I mean literally." Well, Satriel's like, "Literally, I speak fox." And it like says you in fox. You can just tell me what you want to say.
He needs you need to get the water. Fen lost water, and Fen has to filter out all the time. That's what happens in the river. Is sometimes, if it rains or if it doesn't rain, Fen has to filter out things that aren't good for them. And Fen needs more water because they lost water. And if they have enough water, they'll be able to, they could be able to get it cleaned out.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a go. Sage, what do you think? Oh, do you think they need more water? They're like turn to you and they're all speaking fox, and then they're like, "Oh wait, do you think that we should put?" Is it your opinion that we should add more water?
Maybe while we're filtering out, we could add more. Like, it is good to get new clean water because that'll dilute it. Like, it would dilute it even further, and maybe Fen could, naturally filter it better.
Great. Oh, go ahead.
I assume that Veshno would remember this. Finn saying like right after we did the night in the pond and Finn came out like kind of held together a little bit differently. I can only assume that Veshna would remember Finn saying that they take on the characteristics of the water that they were given.
Yep. So this water would be clean. It's the drinking water. It would be.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It would have to be like some sort of spring-fed something, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly the same as the river, but yeah, it's clean. So I think we're gonna like pull back a little bit and see like a bunch of people bringing like but a bunch of different fawns bringing some little buckets of water, and maybe Satriel like hands a little tiny bucket of water to Fox Veshna so that she can feel really helpful. I don't know, like do you want to help? And all the other foxes are like just sort of like running around, maybe drinking some of the water and stuff. They're like, no, none of that.
Veshna definitely steps into animal overseer mode. I feel like Veshna, all I could think of, and I apologize because player IC historian has no experience with foxes and only has experience with cats. So player IC historian is playing this very much like a house cat being like, and a task has been initiated and therefore I will supervise. So Veshna's like following the trips back and forth, and like every once in a while I think Fen would see like a little fox nose peering over, and it's almost like Ratatouille style, like no, needs more water.
Awesome.
I'm thinking that she's just a really, really good at blending in with fox. Like, might start a new life as just a fox all the time.
Yeah, and maybe Dill like brings in some charcoal for like some sort of like we're just trying everything right at this point. We don't know. I promise that I will not have you be mostly dead and not saying anything the entire episode, Fen, but it might be a while.
It's fine. I'm enjoying being the center of attention. It's fine.
So I think Hiren and Callie maybe are at breakfast during this time. I think we're having breakfast.
Yeah, if there's food involved, Callie's probably there.
I think it's probably oatmeal, but like good oatmeal.
Okay.
You know how sometimes oatmeal's really gross? It's not that kind of oatmeal. It's like very delicious.
Yeah. Awesome. I think Callie also, like, growing up on a farm and everything would be, not would not turn her nose up at oatmeal.
Oh yeah, well they're just vegetarians.
Makes sense.
Here, so yeah, and so as you're having breakfast, I think Lavender's gonna come over and say, well, and I think maybe Aggro Sage is already there, being like, yeah, hey Callie, look what I can do, and they've and they're always trying to get you to like spar and do, you know, super kind of like annoying but also kind of endearing.
I think Callie's probably like half paying attention and just half scarfing down this food, and so is like eating with one hand and like blocking and deflecting with the other with Aggro Sage.
I love it.
And she's just having a good time. She's like, this oatmeal's really good. Yep, good job, keep it up.
And all of the parsley and rosemary and thyme and Aggro Sage are all sort of there, and there's a bunch of other people there, and they have all adopted Pyron and Callie as like part of the gang. You know, Pyron big time is part of the like acrobatics club. So when Lavender comes over, because Lavender's a little older, or a little more official anyway, and they're like, we are going to have a baby naming ceremony today. And everyone's like, ooh, and they're all excited because it's fun. And they're like, Pyron, I want you to make some pyrotechnics. They were so great last night. Can you perform something?
I could definitely get some pyrotechnics.
You're the uncle of this baby.
I maybe if I knew a little bit more about how the naming ceremony went, is it like out of a hat?
I think it's going to be today. Usually the parent, like usually Satriel, comes out and tells us the name. Like we present the new member of the family. Usually the new member of the family is a little older, so we don't really come as babies. But I mean, this would work for a baby too. And so somebody holds the baby, or they stand there, and everybody kind of circles them and they say what the name is, and we all say it back, and they usually say their name, but I mean the baby probably won't. And
so we only put things that the baby can pronounce in the hat.
I mean, usually there's not. It's up to Beckney as the baby's parent to make the decision about what their name is. But you're the uncle, so you will have a place of honor.
Okay.
So there's usually and the acrobatics, people are like, yeah, and then we do all sorts of things to make them feel welcome. Like we show off all our different skills, and Aggro Sage is like, yeah, and then I fight like 100 bad guys, I kill people, and
that's so many people.
And somebody else is like, and I make a cake, right? Everybody just sort of like does a thing that makes the new person feel welcome and get a sense of who's there in the family.
I have this feeling that like Callie's doing. You ever seen like a bigger, more muscular person with like little kids where they're like hanging off the person's forearm and they're pumping their arm like with dumbbells, like lifting up the little kid. I kind of have this mental image of Callie doing that with Aggro Sage and just like holding her arm up, being like, "What did I say about killing?"
Well, and right, and Aggro Sage is like, because Aggro Sage is very prone to hyperbole. I don't think Aggro Sage has actually killed anyone ever, because that's not really how they roll in that family. But the other thing about Aggro Sage is they are, like, I think Callie would know that they are probably a lot like what Callie was like at that age.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? Like,
yeah.
They're definitely... Like, I've been playing Aggro Sage is kind of annoying, but I would hope that Callie would have some empathy of being the person in the family who just wants to go and beat up all the bad guys in the world and not look at plants. Like, bro. Like that seems stupid, right? And they actually do have a lot of talent for fighting and things like that. So
Yeah, no, Callie's totally here for it. Like she's being encouraging and everything. I think she's probably just like yeah, let's calm it down on the killing talk and just we'll just beat him up. It's fine.
all right, yeah, okay, let's do it. So everyone's sort of like making plans for what they're gonna do. So at some point, Pyron and Callie, you will probably be called upon to do something amazing to add to the baby naming ceremony. You can decide what that is. And Beckney and Limebug, are you coming to breakfast?
Yeah. I think Beckney spent a little bit of time in the morning kind of entertaining Limebug, just with the lens and like showing them different stuff and getting a different sense now that the sun is up, and also probably while Limebug is entertained with something else, trying to find a mirror without letting anyone know, because they really desperately need to know what they look like.
Well, as you come out of the little cabin, I mean, you do notice there is a large well with a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, no, kind of like private, not
right.
In public. Yeah, not that.
Right.
Like if there's no mirror or water that could be sequestered, they'll just hold off for now. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could get a bucket of water, but there's a lot of foxes yipping around.
A lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay. Beckney's just going to assume that's part of normal everyday life for fawns. There's just a lot of foxes. That's a normal thing.
Well, you also probably have never actually seen foxes very clearly. You're probably like, holy crap, those are not cats.
Yeah, basically like, oh, that's what those sound.
Those aren't red cats. Yeah, there are a lot of different leaves. You know what there are a lot of here? Leaves. They're not all the same shape.
A lot of everything.
Yeah. There's a lot of grass. It has individual blades.
Oh, I don't like that.
No. I liked when that was just one big mat.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think as you go to breakfast, you really see Pyron.
I think that throws it. That throws Beckney 100%. Like they stop dead in their tracks when they land on Pyron. And they just kind of do a full like fiddling with the lens a little bit. Like,
I sort of feel like it's not an eyeball, it's a lens, but it's sort of the same idea as like Mad Eye Moody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like where it's just that like one singular lens, but it's a lens with like that can be moved. It's not like a weird eyeball.
Yeah,
not that I have anything against weird eyeballs, you know that.
No, I know what you mean. I think it's kind of like I've actually got something here that would work really well. Kind of like that.
Exactly. Right, with like a leather or whatever strap on it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think after getting over their initial shock, they'll sit down and kind of like they'll leave the lens off for a little bit and kind of get used to the idea of it for a little bit. But yeah. Once there's a brief moment alone, Beckney's gonna like reach across the table to Pyron and like grab his hands, like,
Pyron, I need your help.
Oh, is it finding a hat?
See, you're not like, we need to find a hat.
Right. Yeah, they made that. Apparently, yeah. Seems like a big deal here.
No. But nobody's here. Nobody here's wearing a hat. Can we make a hat?
I mean, we can make something like a hat. I don't know if we can make a whole hat. Does it just have to look like a hat?
I think as long as
I'm confused by the assignment, to be totally honest.
Point of order, there seem to be a lot of buckets here. many buckets.
A bucket is just a hat in the waiting. So yeah, if there's an empty bucket, Beckney's gonna go right over that, and they're gonna. I think they'll try to find like a disc of fabric, maybe not a disc of fabric, but just like a length of fabric that they could, attach around the outside like a really shitty brim.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably stuff like that in your little cabin, like maybe something like a little decorative table runner or something.
Okay, yeah, I think that Beckney will do that without tearing anything, obviously. But yeah, they'll try to do that and like try to like pin it up a little bit so it doesn't droop in the face. And once that's done, they're gonna flop it on their head and look at Pyre and like, what do you think?
How long do you have to wear it for it to be a hat? Is there like?
See, this is like, we never got taught the important stuff.
No.
We got taught about like rivers and junk, but like never about hats.
Like if I balance a bowl on my head for like how long, and then it's a hat and not a bowl anymore.
Right.
I think Parsley hears you and is like, you're on, and like quickly like finishes eating and puts their bowl in their head, and like everybody puts their bowl in their head, and they're like timing themselves now to see who could wear a ball in their head the longest. But they were also, of course, like pushing each other over and like trying to do like tricks and cheating terribly and stuff like that. So now everybody
like got out of hand.
You just sort of like a look around, and like a big percentage of the other beings here, there are either foxes moving water around or have bowls on their heads or are fighting imaginary bad guys.
Is this what they call a trend?
Did
we make a trend?
I think we started a trend. I think we set it somehow.
The other thing, Beckney, is if you put the lens back on, you can see how ridiculous it is. In a much clearer way than you ever would have imagined it looks to have a bowl on your head. But everybody's
bold of you to assume that ridiculous isn't Beckney's bread and butter.
No, that's fine, but it's just, I think, impressive in its ridiculousness because they also have horns. So how they exactly wear bowls on their heads, I'm not sure.
Ooh, yeah. Probably like kind of like wedge it in between the two, kind of like.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So while all that shenanigans is going on, Beckney will plop the bucket back on the table in front of Pirate and say,
we need to get names for the baby.
Like how many names do we need? And does the baby have to be able to say them? Because I think they were saying that like the baby has to pick the name, and the baby I wasn't.
I feel like we'll be here a while though, because like Linebug can't even talk.
Could that be a name? If we're just silent?
I mean,
there we just
again. Larkin never told us this. Like I don't know.
No, we just kind of came with them already.
Yeah, like did I? I mean, we were both the same age. I suppose you wouldn't know. I don't feel like we picked our names.
I would say that Beckney did not come with a name.
Yeah, no, probably not.
That by the time, they may have had one. I mean, they definitely had one. But by the time they got all the way to the Page household, that information was gone. So, yes, I think the mayor did pick your name.
Okay. Yeah, so Beckney's like,
I don't think the baby needs to pronounce it, because like they'll grow into it and maybe change it. I don't know. But like one name from everyone, maybe?
Okay. Yeah. I feel like there's going to be a lot of food or spices in there, given the folks we've met so far. I'm just saying that may if we're picking out of a hat, I think it's gonna skew heavily in one direction in terms of options.
I think that we're getting the Fawn's input to start our small group.
Yeah, that's kind of the same way Beckney's like, I didn't realize we were inviting them to, like, I know it's their house.
You said everybody, and so Pirate's just like, okay, I guess.
Oh, you.
I feel like 5
Don't
names in
feel
a
like
row are just
vegetarians should
Sage.
be naming,
Just
bug
Sage
people.
again.
Yeah, but it's Sage with like an extra Y, maybe. So yeah, Beckney is like,
Just think up a name, and then after breakfast we'll do the thing.
Okay. And yes, and I think they asked me to figure out a way to make the names explode or something like that. I'll think of something cool.
Oh, I should be able to see it.
and like Beckney kind of like starts, gushing over the lens and showing Pyron and kind of going over that. Like,
You look weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
and it's not even remotely insulting. It's literally just like, yeah, like you look weird, and I bet I look weird too.
No, that's so cool. I thought it was just like a fashion thing at first, but no, that's so.
Does it look good? Does it make me
Yeah.
look cool?
I definitely feel like those two, like there are enough sort of empty bowls around that if they wanted to like run off with a bowl of water to look at themselves in the mirror or something, they certainly could. There might be mirrors here, but since you haven't actually asked anyone.
Probably after the naming. Probably somewhere in between that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna have the naming in the evening, so that there's time for everyone to prepare. We're not gonna have the naming at breakfast. We don't have breakfast naming.
Traditions are meaningless. Go ahead.
This tradition that I absolutely just made up this exact second always happens in the evening, so that everyone has time to really appreciate the pyrotechnics.
Listen, traditions are just peer pressure from dead people.
I know, but especially ones that don't even exist. It's good that I can make it up myself. All right, so as this is all sort of going on, I think Satriel and Dill and Sage, and Veshna, and all of the foxes, or at least the fox friend, are sort of watching the pot of Fen bubbling around. And Satriel's they're sort of watching, just sort of watching happening.
A watched pot does not fen.
And then everybody takes 800 points of psychic damage, not in character, but they're actual players.
Oh, well, Sage is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm immune to it. We've been over this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I killed your character, Veshna.
No, I think, so Sage, can you roll, either, like gut check or, some sort of like medicine or nature check?
Oh, I got the heck out of medicine and naturalist.
Yeah.
Let's naturalist because that's the highest. The 16.
It is not hurting. It's certainly not hurting. I think you've stabilized Fen. Fen is not getting a lot better, but it's certainly not getting worse like they did overnight. And Satriel looks at you and says,
Do we have to take them home?
I think so.
They need to get to the river. They need to... Or, like, to their...
What river?
Oh, okay, so this is... We met some Sylvans, and they said that Fen is not from where we live.
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't think so.
Where... Okay, this isn't really my place, but I am the doctor right now, so where do we have to go?
Well, thank you. And I think that Fen belongs with the other riverbound to the north.
There are more
And
riverbound.
they would know what to do with them. I mean, it's not my place. I'm out of ideas. This is beyond what we know. And I don't know how or why Fen wasn't with their people anymore. Or do they have is there a feud, or is there, like, what politically are we stepping into here? Because I can send some sort of message ahead.
I don't believe that Fen was even aware that they were not from the other side of the barrier. And I do not know. I know that they knew that they were not born the same way as their siblings. But that this news was news to them. I do not know the relations between our Fen folk at the Fen folk at Pylon and the bridge, and the Fen folk that we didn't even know exist up north. But I think we were planning on heading north anyway, because Beckney has a personal grudge against the goblins right now.
It is probably not for everyone to go. I think that you will slow them down. I think that you will be faster as a smaller group. I think that
I can't take care of everyone if we split up.
That's true. But perhaps they can take care of themselves.
I love all the shaking heads.
I know.
The cast.
And Satriel's going to sort of like look around and very conspiratorially say, if only we had some small foxes who could carry a small weight of fen quickly through a lot of very dense underbrush.
So the foxes take fen. Just the foxes.
Satriel's like trying really hard to be subtle and like making these big eyes.
Oh, yeah, Sage is picking it up. Sage is just trying to, is instantly battle planning how to talk to Feshna about this and make sure that she's okay with it without giving away that they totally know it's her.
So is Veshna's in this room, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Veshna...
Sitting right there, listening.
Yeah, Veshna pipes up in Fox to Satriel and says they called them unexpected. Their parents called them their unexpected child. And they said that all of their children are expected. Is there someone nearby who is missing a child?
And I think Dill looks over and says, like, kind of gives a look to Satriel, and Satriel looks at Dill, and Dill says, well, maybe your friend is the lost Budling.
So I feel like Veshna has done like a lot of reading, like on the sly, about the riverbound folk, and like, you know what I mean? Like probably a lot for completely no reason at all. None, no real reason, just boredom. And
she's naturally curious.
Desire for knowledge. And so she said,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Can you roll hearing, and Sage, can you have rolled a hearing? Because everybody else is like not in the room. I mean, Fen, you can roll one too, but you can't say anything about it. So
this is 25. This is Sage's sense.
No, that's good.
Are there any bonuses for being a fox?
Sure.
I love bonuses for being a fox. I got a 28. I got a critical success. So I guess.
Okay. So, in the night, well, so Dill says, well, they sing for them every night. Did you hear that? And you're like, oh, there was this like weird sound on the edge of my hearing, like really, really quiet. And that like if you had not just rolled a 25 and a 28, you would not have heard. But like there, you know when like there's some sort of machine sound far away and you can't place it? And it's like there on the edge of your consciousness. And then all of a sudden you're like super aware of it and then it goes away. Like that's what was happening, but a lot more mystical. And you're like, they sing for them every night.
I would like to like kneel down in front of Veshna Fox and be like, I think this is something only you can do. Will you say Fen?
Can Veshna, so Veshna Fox can understand person?
Totally.
Also, I assume at the point where they started talking to Fox's or Sage was just like, okay, I'm just going to use magic so I understand what's happening.
That's totally fine. I think in this moment, everybody just stops pretending that they don't know that and they just start talking to Veshna as if they do. Like,
we're all just like, okay.
You know, transition, but everyone's so shocked that everyone just
like, I am the superhero Fox right now. I am the superhero of a Fox.
But like, Sage is still not referring to Veshna by name, but like.
So Veshna Fox kind of looks at all the other little foxes and is kind of like, I mean, if we each take like a little bit in a waterproof like pack, we should be able to get them to the riverbank before dinner.
And whoever gets there first is the winner.
Wins!
Exactly.
And all the foxes are like, yeah! And so there's like 5 or 6 of them who want to go, and the fox friend is like, "Yeah, this will be awesome. Let's cut up your friend and carry them on our back."
So we're gonna have Fen camelbacks.
Yeah, so I picture it's like what those little, like really tiny version of like those dogs that have liquor.
The Saint Bernards.
Yes, except maybe on their back. And the fox is like, yeah, and you need like, I mean, I don't care, but you cared. You probably want to bring some fabric if you want to turn back into a girl.
I think Vesh just sort of turns to Fox friend and is like, thank you, Dave. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that suggestion. We're gonna put it in our parking lot. Remember we talked about this before, right? The parking lot. We'll put on the whiteboard. We'll circle back to that.
Everybody knows you're a girl.
Sage is aggressively pretending that they are doing something else. Like,
was that? You smell like a girl.
Veshna looks like she wants to die.
Oh, a girl fox. So you care about having a, I don't know, cool, cute bandana or something, that kind of fabric.
No, we don't care about being naked. It's just that when she turns back into a mostly human being, she doesn't like it when her nipples show.
Nobody likes it when their nipples show.
I do! And they're all like rolling around. They don't care. It's their foxes. They've got like 100 nipples. They don't care.
Veshna looks like really defeated because she was partially kind of planning on just like not going back to being a useless person and being a somewhat useful fox. And so, yeah, Veshna sort of is like, yep.
And Fox friend was like, can you teach us to do that on the way?
To do what?
Be a person.
I mean, sure, probably going to be better at it than I am. I mean, I just thought about it like my drawing book. And I don't even know where Veshna's stuff is. But
that's, like, and they all sort of look at you and they start like batting you and they're like, stop! Stop it! Stop it! Stop! We gotta go. You gotta stop being sad.
We're going. We're going. We're ready to go.
And Sage look very softly at Veshna and be like, please be careful. And it's gonna be okay.
The foxes and I are gonna be great. We, the foxes.
You, the foxes.
Are gonna have a great time. It's gonna be awesome. This is great. And yep.
And I like this sort of idea of, we've got people with bowls on their heads, we've got people fighting, slave fighting, and then we've got like a little tiny army of foxes who have little tiny barrels and maybe capes. Some of them have capes, just in case. Just in case Veshna wants some fabric.
Very, very conspiratorially, Sage will lean in towards Veshna and be like, and our friend Veshna is partially fox. If you see her, can you tell her that we're worried about her? And we're not going to go anywhere without her.
And all the other little foxes look at her and they're like, she's right there.
And Sage gives it's like the first time Sage has looked angry since the Wisteria incident. And Sage is
yep, sure. I will do that. And Veshna, using all of the I'm used to having pretty good pretty good ground cover with being bipedal and tall, takes their little keg of fen. Oh, we have our kegs of fen.
Yeah, I think so. In the meantime, we've been ladling fen into small kegs.
Takes their cup and a half of fen, and using the animal sense of just knowing sort of where safe water is, which is, I'm sure, a real thing. My history degree tells me it is. And just books it toward the river.
Yeah, and I think as they run, whereas the other foxes are like, how does that fawn stay alive? How do they hunt for themselves? They are not very observant. They are really worried about you, Sage. As you go, they are talking to themselves, when we get back, we better get them some ice. How are they gonna live? They're never gonna be ready to leave their moms. Or whatever, So
the things I do for friendship.
Okay. So we are gonna take, and now is probably a good time to take a break, because we're gonna transition into baby name planning and adventuring and other things in a few minutes. So why don't we take our break now, and we'll do that in a few.
Yeah, go ahead and grab drinks, snacks, all that good stuff, and then we'll be back in 15 minutes. We'll see you then. we are back.
Fun fact, if you have a tongue ring, bread doesn't get stuck to the roof of your mouth, and when it does, you can get it off real easy.
What?
Honestly, the
sense.
best part about having a tongue ring, because white bread gets stuck to the roof of your mouth, that's my fun fact. That was why I had to share that live on camera, because that is...
Never had bread stuck to the roof of my mouth.
Wonder bread sticks to the roof of your mouth like
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
hot dog
You
buns.
may as well just dump your
yeah,
head in
super
the
bad.
sewer. Like,
Yeah.
Listen. If I like pizza pops, I can like Wonder Bread.
you can. I'm just gonna judge you.
You already judged
Oh,
me.
who's being presumptuous now?
So this is what the stream is now.
Yep.
Yes.
Stream now is what is the most superior kind of pasta and why is it angel hair? And never going
not
to be
angel
penne,
hair.
because penne has too much darn air in it. Ridiculous.
Literally, you can get the sauce inside the penne, and then it's just more of a vehicle for sauce.
There's too much
True.
air. It ruins it. It's like you're eating straws.
Anyway,
Who wants to eat a bunch of straws?
Veshna has left with foxes.
Yep.
Good texture.
Oh my god.
6 different cup and a
Now-
half allocations of fen are on their way to the forest.
The important question, because we have the naming ceremony at dinner, what type of pasta are they serving at dinner?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say what type of pasta we're naming
Clearly
the
angel
baby.
hair. You can roll the pasta, and if you roll the 1, you can have penne. Because
Now I
it's a
have to-
critical fail.
Just feel
I'm
like
gonna-
that.
can I elect to use my disadvantage?
All of us, all the penne was used as straws to
my
transfer
God.
Fen.
Terrible transfer method.
Fen into the little. We very quickly. I would love if everybody, before we got started, how about a suggestion? And chat can do this too. A suggestion for a baby name from everybody in the party.
I've been
Also,
spending my free
I'm-
time looking up names.
I also want to note that it's not happening till Veshna's back. Just putting that out there.
Okay, you're definitely going to need to let all the fawns know that. 'Cause
Oh yeah. I mean, as soon as Beckney knows that Veshna's gone off, also Fen is not here. Also, so there's that. Can't get a name from them if they're not here.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Sorry if that throws things off, but that is definitely where Beckney's head is at. Like
Okay.
everyone in the group needs to make a name. So if they want to have contributed one before they left, that is also fine. I suppose we can make two for Fen and Veshna specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we knew there was a naming ceremony coming up, so I just sent them off.
Probably not. Yeah.
if we want to be like meta about it, like I definitely didn't know.
Yeah. I mostly just don't want to throw things off for Calliope.
That's fair.
And yet here we are.
Listen, you invited me. You invited me, knowing full well.
So no, I don't care. So yeah, that's totally fine, and we can totally keep it. That definitely means, and if that's what, like, sort of the will of the people is, that's completely fine. It will just sort of shift the lens a little bit of the play for the rest of the stream to the people who actively have a thing to do. So if that's okay with people, I'm totally fine with it, because that's always like trying to share the state, share everybody's spotlight is part of it too. So yeah, if we think that makes sense in character, I'm totally down for that. It gives Pyron more time to think of pyrotechnics. I would like to suggest Awesome Rocket
What
as a name
what's-
for the baby.
Oh, for the babe. Okay. Just like, what am I designing? What kind of rocket?
Also, you could have a lot of awesome rockets as part of it.
I will be suggesting Leto, from Latin latus, meaning happy or joyful.
Like Lito,
Leto.
Leto. Okay.
What about Farfel? Is that how you say that kind of pasta? The one that's a bow tie? Or is it
I think it's just called bow tie pasta.
I think it's just called bow tie. I mean, there's
No,
probably
it
a
has an
proper
official
name.
name.
Yeah. I always thought it was farfalle, but I think maybe I'm just wrong because I have
This
this
is
to not read
suplex.
things.
It might be farfalle.
Yeah.
Is it bow tie in Italian?
Probably. I would suggest farfalle. So anyway, the foxes are going to head out. The little thing of foxes is going to head out, and what I have some different things that for you to encounter along the way. So I'm going to have you roll a d10, and that will help us figure out what in fact happens on your adventure. Okay?
All right.
So I picture, so they're all just sort of headed north. And I think we can retcon a little bit that like as you were sort of frantically getting your little jugs strapped to yourself and stuff, they're like, it's north. It's like this big lake complex north. Like basically you just head north and you will find it. And so you start out, and I think what you notice, I mean, first of all, now you're a fox and the world is very different. And so you are much faster and more nimble. And I think you can add probably like a +5 to all of your sort of nimbleness kind of rolls.
Okay.
Because you are very nimble, but I think you probably have less strength than you did as a person. I mean, in terms of relative size. And so you're starting to go through the woods, and at first the woods are pretty normal, which is, you know, they had been really thick by the highway, and then they had been sort of thinner, but you can see this is there's a lot of brambles, there's a lot of trees that have fallen, a lot of rocks. Like, it is not a super easy kind of place for two-legged creatures to go. Like, if, you know, Sage might have been all right. I think Pyron and Beckney were right out on being able to traverse this area well. And, you know, and Callie might have been able to fly. I don't know. But this is where we're at. So what did you roll?
A 9.
So the first thing that you come across is a river, and everyone's like, yeah, we're here, we made it. It is not that river. Like, pretty obviously not a big lake. Right now they're like, yeah, let's do it. Oh, we got it. Hey, turn back into a girl. This is so easy. Yeah, come on, get thumbs.
Nope. We gotta keep going, team. This is not the water we're looking for.
Oh man. And they're like drinking it and splashing in it. And so so I'd like you to roll a seeing check.
Okay. $24.
Yeah, and so you can see there's basically two ways to do this. You can either hop across the river on these stones that look kind of hard to hop across, or you can swim across it. And they're like, all right, team leader, what are we doing?
So the stones look difficult.
Yes. But the river, also swimming as a fox with a big thing of water on your back might also not be super easy.
Okay, so can I be difficult?
Yeah.
So Veshna,
you can always be difficult.
Having aced the Steps to Respect curriculum at Pylon Inn Regional Memorial Architectural Agricultural Elementary School, is
Mhm.
going to remember doing the exercise of Chocolate River, which was all about getting a whole bunch of people across a river that was made of hot chocolate, and you had marshmallows, and if you like lost your footing on the marshmallows, you would lose them. So it was all about teamwork and taking care of everyone. And she realizes that some of the foxes are smaller than others, and that like we got to be careful of the little ones who may not have the strength yet to combat the water. So she's gonna kind of like there's like brush and stuff around here, right? Yeah.
Sure.
So she's gonna kind of like drag like a stick, you know what I mean, to kind of get us started. And working with the foxes, create sort of like a living bridge where they will slowly get each other through hands between the stones, and some of them having to sort of swim from like one stone to another, like across the river. Everybody sort of working together.
All right. I want you to roll either a speech or maybe a charm, right? Which one? One of those. Like you have to inspire everybody.
Okay. I have a thing for that. It lets me re-roll if I have to. Can I use my performance magic to like?
Yes.
Okay, so would that technically be magical engineering?
Sure.
Right. Ooh, that's a 13.
So.
Oh, I can't. Oh no, I can't. Never mind. Just kidding.
Okay,
I don't get +5 on that, do I?
No, because that's not about being nimble per se.
Right.
Like
Right.
that would be about like sort of balancing across the bridge.
Yeah.
I think that you, Veshna, I think you have a very inspirational speech about the steps to respect, and all of the foxes sit there and watch you and have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Because they have not been to Pylon Bridge Elementary Memorial in Memorandum and Perpetuity Elementary School.
Yes. So I think seeing that she's losing the crowd a little bit is going to try and demonstrate where she's going to like, she and Fox Friend, she's going to take Fox Friend and she's going to like wrap, you know, Fox, give her tail kind of like still with Fox Friend and then stretch out, and then Fox Friend can kind of swim, kind of, you know what I'm saying, like with her near, and then she's gonna get with her and Fox Friend on the next rock and be like, right? We kind of go one step at a time. Nobody makes it across unless we all make it across. Like,
all right, and they're going to
totally do it and be really good at it.
So some of them get it, and they're like, "Is it a race? Is it a race?"
It's a race to see how many of us can get there safely.
Yeah, and like half of them are into it, and the other half just sort of like pile into the river. They're sort of like being borne downstream, and like.
So, yeah, I think that like they're gonna instead sort of feed the swimming group along with them, like you would with like a raft.
Right, they're like, you know, and it's relatively challenging.
Not great though.
All right, can you roll a might roll, like to sort of see what your general stamina is?
18.
All right, okay, so that's good. So I think you are able to make this happen without too much trouble, and I think some of the foxes do better than others, but everybody makes it across. But I do think some of the littler foxes are getting a little more tired. Like this sort of wore them out.
Okay.
And so they're going to take a little damage, but it's like tired damage, right?
I think we're gonna go a little bit slower to kind of recover some whatever, not as like breakneck for the next leg, to kind of recover and also so that Veshna can continue to get used to the fox senses of like where she is in relation to where she knows she needs to go.
Great. In the meantime, I think everyone who's back at camp, could you all roll a sight roll? Even Beckney, if you so choose.
How do you want to roll on that? I'd like, how is that going to function?
So I think that when you are using the lens, as long as it's not like super bright light, I think if it's like noon or something like, or like there's a very, very bright light, I don't think it would be effective. Right? Because then it would go into it would like, but I think it would counteract, it would be an item that would counteract your vision issues. I mean,
I was gonna say, I don't know that it would counteract the full extent of them, but I think
totally
it would be
fine.
Okay.
And I'll leave that up to you. I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to allow that to be whatever you think is best for Beckney.
Sure.
I'm happy to have it be like, whoa, like now I can actually see because I have glasses for the first time. But I'm also happy
to a trivial minus. Yeah.
What?
I said we'll reduce it to a trivial minus as opposed to a minus 18.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So the actual flavor of that, I think, whatever makes sense to you as a, as the player is fine for me. But I think it is definitely a big bonus.
Cool. I'm into it.
So,
forget what you see there. I just didn't change anything on it, so forget what you see. That's still super low. I rolled a 2,
fine.
So call it like a 5.
Okay, so I think Beckney and Pyron are probably like 2. What are you doing instead of looking up at the sky? What are you guys doing?
What exactly are we looking for? Like, what are we?
Well, I haven't told you yet. But you're not paying attention to the world. You're doing something else. So what are the two of you doing together? Are you planning the naming ceremony for when they come back? Have you come up with some other little trick?
If Pyron is good, sorry.
I think Pyron is looking for, he's getting some of the fawns to like help him go through probably the non-essential medical supplies, but stuff that I could use in my little recipes to like add extra effects, that kind of thing.
Awesome.
Like just showing you their like stores.
I think Beckney's just watching that with, unbridled enthusiasm because I can actually kind of see what's going on now.
Well, and I think that the acrobatic fawns really love you as a flyer, right? Like, you're like the one at the top of the cheerleading pyramid too. So I think you're very involved with that. But Kelly and Sage, so maybe you two, what are you two doing together? You must be, so let's say you're outside because you're going to see something in the sky. So what are you doing?
I thought it would be kind of cute if we were literally cloud watching.
I love it.
I love that too.
If Raven's okay with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Sage told Raven that, or told Callie that they sent Veshna off, and it's like, I'm sorry that I sent your best friend off on a potentially dangerous mission to save our other friend. Do you want to hang out?
Yeah, Callie's probably like, oh, Veshna's like got a really good head. Like, she'll be totally fine. She's not at all worried about Veshna. Because she has confidence in her friend. And then is like, yes, absolutely, I would love to go cloud watching. And she's probably like really excitedly like pointing out different shapes and stuff, like holding her arm like fully extended, pointing at the sky.
And what kinds of things does Callie see? Like, wow, that one looks like a circle, or like, or
that was like a fist punching someone.
Like, what are the kinds of things that Callie sees?
Oh, they're really cool things like, oh, that looks like a dragon. Oh, and that looks like a bear fighting a tiger. And that one looks like a tree.
Oh, it does.
I want you, Sage, I just want you to roll a d20 to see how much they actually look like it. To you.
7.
So you don't really see it, but it doesn't matter because you guys are you're just kind of like laying there together and looking at it. And as you look through, you see, at first, I think you think it's a hawk, right? It's got that sort of like kettling thing. But as it comes closer, you see that it is not a hawk. It has big hawk wings, and it has the head of a lady. And like big claws. And so Sage.
Is that a harpy?
It is a harpy. It is a harpy.
What's my general knowledge of the demeanor of harpies?
Roll a naturalist. Like you wouldn't have seen.
Dang it.
So
You do have a couple of advantages, just a reminder.
Yes. This is not that important though.
Okay.
Maybe.
Is it?
Oh, fine.
Concern.
All right, let's use one. I have two. It's fine. Critical
Hell
success.
yeah,
It's
it's
like, I know
not
about
great.
harpies.
So I think that you know about harpies because you've read about them with Faunus. And I think you see them very far away, like above the field occasionally. Like you see the outlines of them. They don't come, I feel like the field is like kind of a dome, right? And so they don't come in. They are they're predators. They're predators, and you know they're sort of it's sort of hunting. And you're aware that like you are too big for it to hunt.
Sage's instinct is like, we got to get the little ones inside. Any little ones. And also I need to find Satchel and find out if this is okay. You are a little one, Beckney.
All right, so and
like Sage is up and being like, we have a predator. I would like anyone who is small enough to be picked up and flown off inside, and also wear a satchel.
Satchel's I don't know where Satchel's probably like, I'm taking a nap. Now, Satchel is like, yes. They can come out and look up and say, okay.
Is this a problem? Do we? Should we send Callie? She can fly.
It's probably.
Or we could do a distraction.
Callie, it's probably not a terrible idea for you to fly along after the Fox contingent.
That was actually what Callie was going to ask about.
Oh,
too.
no, you're right.
Because although they are mostly going to be in thick underbrush, they are exactly the size that a harpy would eat.
Okay. I think Callie will like very quickly offer to give like a Sage a hug before leaving, since they were just hanging out.
For sure.
And then
Sage will be like, okay, so north, and I don't remember if you have good directional skills.
Which direction? Like point.
Like there's like points north and be like, okay, you're looking for a bunch of foxes with carrying the water.
Does
no worries.
Imagine that Callie knows how to use a compass?
Yeah, actually probably.
Probably.
Yeah,
right?
because it's north. It's literally the one marked one.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And she'll take off like into the air. Do harpies talk?
What?
Do harpies talk? Like, are they sapient, or are they more like an actual bird?
Yeah. So Satrail's gonna say, it's gonna give you like a little advice and say, stay sort of closer to the trees. Maybe your presence will sort of, if you're close enough, might keep it away. you don't really want to fight it in the air if possible, because it has very sharp claws and very many teeth. But if need be, you could probably punch it in the face a few times. Try not to kill it.
Callie just nods like, oh yeah, no, I try not to kill anything. Okay, but so don't really need to worry about trying to talk to it then.
If it's no. If it's hunting, it's not really going to reason with you if it's hunting. So just your presence hopefully will be enough to keep it some distance.
Cool. Like, and before like she even finishes talking, Callie's like, okay, got it, and then just flashes into the air, and is kind of like almost like Superman sort of flying, but with both of her arms by her side, instead of like one arm out, until she gets close to about where she figures maybe the foxes are, and then just sort of starts flying with her back to the ground, looking up at the harpy, almost like she's just like floating on the top of water, and just kind of keeps an eye on it.
Why don't you roll I guess it's a sight roll, or gut feeling, about where the foxes are.
Okay, I'm gonna go with sight. So 27.
Okay, so yeah, you are able to kind of see the path that they took. You can see their little like makeshift bridge team building situation, and you're able to sort of, you haven't quite caught up with them yet, but you're definitely sort of there. And why don't you roll a daunt?
Ooh, that's one of the things I'm decent at. 28.
Yeah, so for now, the harpy is sort of giving you some distance. It is definitely giving you some distance. Why don't you go ahead and roll, Vashna, and we'll see what happens next. Go ahead. Okay. So as you go along, you come across, you come into a kind of more of a clearing, and you can see that at one time, a long time ago, this was some sort of courtyard. And in the middle of the courtyard is maybe some sort of king, like a statue of some sort of king. But its head is mostly gone at this point. Not like, and it's old. And, you know, and as you sort of pick your way through the sort of overgrown cobblestones, and because it's much easier to go through here, like in the little bushes, than it is the really thick part, you can see that at some point in the long past, there was some sort of statue here celebrating something. And the foxes just sort of are not super appreciative. One probably like pees on it a little bit, because you got to sometimes. And can you roll a blending in roll? What is it called? Blended? Yes. Can you roll a blend in roll?
Critical success, 24.
Nice. So you are able, actually, and would you roll one too, Callie? Not a blend in sight, sorry.
Sight? Yeah. 31.
Okay, so even though you are extremely good at hiding, Callie notices that you are there and is able to fly in a little bit closer and keep a closer eye on you. And the sort of harpy does not see you at this time. Veshna, why don't you roll a sight roll and see if you see Callie?
Ah, I got a 10.
Okay, so you don't really see Callie because you are hiding from everything in the sky.
Yeah, I think that Veshna kind of uses, like, you know, having been taller, do you know what I mean? To kind of think about what the top-down view would be, and kind of picks a path for the foxes that, like skirts around, like, at the edge of the clearing where it is still clear, but not where, you know, they're right smack diddly dab in the middle of this open space.
Yeah, and they're pretty good at this, too. So this plays to their strengths.
And as she goes by the statue, like, I don't know, like in her mind or whatever, she's like, thanks, whoever you were. This is very nice. And I'm sorry about your statue, but I'm a fox and can't fix it. And she just kind of keeps going.
I love it. Callie, do you interact with them at all, or do you stay sort of away from them, or what are you doing right now?
Callie's just keeping herself between the foxes and the harpy, pretty much, not really wanting to call any attention whatsoever to them. So she's just sort of staying, well, like keeping pace with them, essentially.
Awesome. All right. Go ahead and roll again, Veshna.
D10.
Yeah.
A 2.
So what you find next is that the land is now becoming very brambly. And it's sort of this like weird combination. It's very wet. Like maybe you are getting closer to the lake because it's very wet here, but it's covered in, I don't know if you guys have this, but in New Hampshire, we have this problem with this invasive species that's like brambles on steroids. And it has a stupid little white flower that flowers for like literally one day. And you're like, oh, that's cute. And then it makes like a wall of thorns a la Sleeping Beauty for the rest of it. And it's awful. It's like that. Also mud.
Okay.
And there's also mud. And so you and the foxes are going to have to make 3 might rolls to see how you are able to like get through the mud, and also 3 nimbleness rolls.
Great.
So you can do them in pairs, I guess, like might and nimbleness.
Okay. I'm just trying to think if there's anything she can do. No, that doesn't make, none of it makes any sense. Okay. 23 for might.
Great.
And a 17 for nimbleness.
So that's great. And the foxes also did fine. I think some of the littler ones are having a hard time getting through the mud. Like, again, they're sort of like, ugh, because it's hard, but they are able to do so in a sort of challenged way. All right, let's keep going.
All right. A 9 for might.
Okay.
And a well, you said I could add 5 to nimbleness, so that's a 17 for nimbleness.
Yeah. So one of the it is really hard to move through this mud.
Yeah.
And I think especially with the weight of the water sloshing around a little bit on your back.
Yeah.
You are kind of stuck. And I think you are kind of like really struggling with that. and one of the little baby foxes is stuck in the brambles. It's like, you know, and is stuck in the brambles. And it's hard to get out. It's really hard to get out. And so I think you, how are you going to get out? Like, what would Vashna do?
So, okay. This is like maybe too much of a, this is maybe too much of a stretch, and you can tell me if it is.
Okay.
But so Vashna does performance magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking something about how, you know, how they use focused sound waves to break up like kidney stones for people. I think that what I was thinking about was like focused sound waves to like I don't know, like push the water.
Heck yeah, let's do it. All right, give it a go.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right. That'd be engineering magic. That's a 19.
Okay. So I would say it works. And you are able to sort of clear a path. The downside, though, is you have absolutely caught the attention of the harpy. Because you have, like, just made a loud noise that destroyed a bunch of stuff. So I think the good news is I think you're done rolling through the brambles. I think you were able to use this magic to get you guys through. But the bad news is in the sky, and you can't see this, but what Callie would see is that you have piqued the interest of this harpy who's like, what is going on around here? And what Sage would know, but you do not know, is that actually harpies have a similar weapon. Like they actually have that kind of a call.
Okay.
They have like, if you were Sage, you would know they have a stunning like call. And so that sound is like exactly the kind of sound that would like attract them. And they were like, maybe the harpy's like, is this another harpy? Who is making a loud sound that is destroying things on my watch? And comes over sort of aggressively. So Callie, what are you going to do about it?
Callie is going to try and blind it.
Okay.
So, sort of a, like a thing that happens, like when the sun expels matter. It's like a flare of like a solar variety.
Okay.
I'm referencing something without outright referencing something. So yeah, she's gonna like put her hands up by her face and then just do like an energy attack, but it's not damaging, it's just a ridiculously bright light. Sort of facing upwards.
Okay. All right, so from a like out of character perspective, what would make the most sense system wise for the harpy to do? Like, it's not an attack.
No, so I would say probably opposed magic engineering, and then probably a physical fortitude check to not be blinded by the light. Or you could say nimbleness if you want them to like try to close their eyes fast enough to not be blinded. I could see either one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I think
I'm gonna use my advantage.
The harpy sees the light and makes a very loud call. And even all of the foxes freeze. Like in place and can hear it, like it screams really loudly. And the thing about it's like the harpy scream is sort of like
much better.
I don't know what it is. It's loud. It's very loud and it's very off-putting, and it's and it's terrifying. And so they all freeze naturally because they are used to having this in their system, in their like ecosystem, and it banks off, but it doesn't fall. It falters some, and it banks off and goes away. But now it's pissed. Now it's like
darn.
super pissed off, right? Because now somebody's shining light on it, pissing it off in its territory, and there's a harpy down there in the woods making harpy noises. Harpies, just for anyone watching at home, are sort of, I think they sort of have the same kind of vibe as male turkeys, wild male turkeys, which is incredibly dumb and very aggressive when they think there's another male turkey. But sometimes it turns out it's just the window or someone's car, their reflection in someone's car. So sometimes people have problems with turkeys picking off all the paint on their car as they attack the other turkey.
No.
Yeah, so it's that kind of vibe. It's mad now.
Darn. Guess I'm gonna have to fight it. Oh.
I know, right? It's the moment you've been
Shucks.
waiting for. And we have actually not done very much combat, like almost at all. So I'm going to need a little bit of you guys' help to help me with the making sure that the combat works, because you all know much more about it than I do, to be totally honest. So
No worries.
I'm sorry, my
It's-
character is a pacifist.
no, I
say
love
that.
it. Are you kidding
There
me?
have been 4 seasons of Animus, and we've done like 5 instances of combat.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that makes me feel better. So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, so as you're starting to do that, what are the foxes doing?
So we heard the harpy make a noise.
Yes, and all the rest of them, they all freeze, and they're like, that's bad. That's real bad. That we gotta hide.
Okay.
We should hide here till tomorrow. We should just go to bed for the night under these rocks until the harpy
Probably.
leaves.
Probably not going to be an option, friends. Can I roll sight to see if I can see Callie,
Sure.
like up in the sky? All
Sure.
right. Oh my god, it would help if I like did anything correctly. It would be so good. Oh my god, that's a 10. I have 7.
You
Cool.
can't see. So you don't know she's there.
Okay.
And so the foxes are terrified, and they're like, we are not going.
Do I know anything about harpies?
Probably not.
Okay.
Not much anyway. Just like you would know them like Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
And they're absolutely terrified.
Alright.
Harpy comes and catches you in its big claw and takes you away and eats you.
Okay.
And then you never come back.
Guys, what do you guys know about harpies? What do you know about them?
They take you away and you never
Right.
come back.
Right,
and
like
they eat you.
how do they fight? What do they do? Like what's their thing? Was that noise them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They eat you.
So
You know how, and Fox Friend's like, you know how you can pounce on mice and it's really fun? And then you can eat them?
yeah.
Well, it's like that, but we're the mice.
Cool. Veshna is, so are we still?
No, it's not. It's not cool. It's bad.
Oh, sorry, that cool was not.
When you get eaten, you're dead.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll parking lot that. So are we still in the like on the edge? So we're on the edge of the clearing?
No, you.
No, 'cause we got
you
away
sort
from
of
the
like
brambles.
shot a beam of your own beam of sound and like sort of cleared a path through the brambles.
Okay, so how far behind me can I see? So, because what I'm going to try and do above the table, what I'm going to try and do is recreate the sound I made very far away from where we are.
Okay, sure.
Like
Ventriloquism.
Like the other side of the clearing.
I love that.
From
That's
where
fine.
we are.
Give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, we're all hunkered down under these rocks, so. The 26.
Okay, yeah, and so I think that the harpy hears the noise, sees Callie, and is like, I did not hear that other noise until I saw this weird flying harpy. It flies. It has a face. It makes a harpy noise. It must be a rival. And it is going to attack you. So.
All right, cool. Shall we roll swiftness for
Yes.
turn order? Okay.
All right. Stop writing. Stop writing a chat. I'm using a chat that Raven sent me to do this. Or you can help me so you can stay awake. Because I know we're getting to the end. But I keep putting up exactly what we're supposed to do, and then people are writing a chat. I'm like, I don't want to hear about this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I always want to hear about you because I love you all, but I
just reposted it.
I feel really dumb because we haven't done this in person yet, really.
We're on episode 10, and this is really the first time we've actually fought something.
I know.
So
and
you're good.
We could very well have the whole season without you fighting anything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it gets to go first.
Okay. So it's going to attack you with claws.
Okay.
It's going to attack you with its 2 claws in the air. It flies to you with 2 claws. It's making a very aggressive, sort of howling noise. It's being very scary. It's like little feathers are up. You know, it's like, I am the harpy who lives here. Interloper with no feathers. You are very strange and looking harpy. And I shall claw you with my claws, of which you do not seem to have any. And so it is going to attack you. And
all right. So for just as a quick reminder for attack rolls, if you don't have it in a character sheet or something, it's just a d20 plus the attribute tied to it. So for melee, that's going to be toughness, I believe.
Toughness.
And then any training points and melee attacks.
Okay. And so, so it's going to claw at you. It is going to... Oh, it missed, though, the first one. I'm assuming. That's
all right.
And, what is your... So, the first one it rolled was a 2. So, you have to defend against it, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to choose, since this is the first attack on the round, I get to choose which defense I'm using. So I'm going to use Deflect because it gets +5 versus melee attacks, which nets me 1 better than my dodge. So I'm going to use Deflect on the first one for 24, 29 versus melee, and then 27 versus melee on the second.
Okay, so you are able to... So because you're deflecting it, I think it goes to claw you, and instead of just you were able to just sort of block it, right?
Yeah, basically Callie's just seeing the attack and kind of putting her hand just past the claws and moving it out of the way.
Yeah, I like that.
So just redirecting the harpy's energy, essentially.
Right, in the air, you can just sort of toss it by you.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's what it's gonna do. It's 2 claw attacks for you this time, and so
okay.
it's your turn.
All right. Callie does not have... I don't think she has her staff with her in the air. So I think she's just going to punch the thing.
Okay.
With just her fists with the hand wraps. So that's a 14 to hit. And then what defense did the harpy go with for their turn? I forgot to mention that at the end.
It's, I think, also gonna deflect. It doesn't see that you have any. You haven't shown to have any magic or anything yet, and so so now for this, so it gets to have a +5, and it's gonna roll.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
okay. Okay. So then,
20 plus cleverness +5. So
yeah, it's not very clever. It's
20.
It's not so clever.
At least a 21 if its cleverness is at 0. So
okay.
It definitely deflects. I'm gonna try to use a bonus action, which is basically a d20 roll. I'm gonna spend a stamina point to do that, and those just refresh at the end of every encounter. So I've got 4 to work with. So I'm gonna spend 1, see if I get a bonus action. I do. So I'm gonna follow up with her energy attack, the Kali Hammy Ha, and just try to blast it.
Okay.
Sort of switch gears here. For a 19.
Yeah, oh my god, it rolled in that one. And it was totally not expecting an energy blast from you. So, yeah. So I think you, it's able to dodge the punch, or like deflect your punch, and sort of turns around and takes this Kamehameha like right in the face, and it sort of spirals, down a little bit before like shaking it off, and some of the feathers go. And oh god, it is so mad. It is so mad. That
how many episodes does it take you to charge that?
10 at least.
At least.
Depends on how loud she's like grunting and yelling, during the charge up. And I'm gonna go with deflect for my defense.
So you have really, really pissed it off. And so it's like never seen, like, you are such a weird harpy, and you're what is the Kamehameha?
So if for anybody that's ever seen Dragon Ball Z, it's like Goku's signature attack. So she just like puts her hands by her side, and this little like ball of blue energy shows up, and then she just like thrusts her hands out, and it's this blue beam, sort of just shoots out, like, I don't know, roughly a torso width beam.
Awesome.
That shoots out and then hits whatever.
Okay.
Usually explodes.
So Veshna, I want you to roll sight. Because something's going on in the air that's weird. Or hearing, I guess, maybe. Whatever.
Oh my gosh. That's a 10 again. That's a 10 again.
Girl today.
I think that is my third 10 sight roll.
You have advantage.
I mean, no, it's fine.
So the foxes are like, what's going on up there?
Can I roll hearing?
Sure.
To see if
Hearing probably would have been better.
Heard it. Oh, I haven't gotten 10s on that yet, so it'll be nice to get a 10 in something.
Good. Yeah, so you have the match set.
22.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, so you all are like huddled under these rocks, and you can hear like something's going on up there that's real weird.
Do I know that it's Callie?
I mean, Callie's definitely making noise, like grunts and things like that.
All right, what's your gut check on that?
All right. 11.
I don't think you know for sure, but it's definitely not like a harpy. Like, whatever it is, there's like some sort of fight going on up there.
Oh, I'm
but
so dumb.
You're like, and so I think I'm
that would get me a 14 because I have alert, and I didn't even remember.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking for like patience.
Patience, like a
Discipline.
power kind of thing. That'd be discipline.
Yeah. So, yeah, they have. So that's great for you. The foxes have much less discipline than you do. They have a negative to discipline, and they're like, "I gotta see it. I gotta see it. I gotta see it." And they all like run out and they're looking and they're like, "Whoa! Hey, look at this! Come here! Whoa! Who's that? Whoa! Whoa!" And they're all like super like. Now they're just watching. They're watching it like.
So, Vesha's gonna go out there because she figures she probably has a much better shot against this harpy than they do. So she's gonna go out there and she's going to try like what is the Pokemon Sonic Wave?
Okay.
Pokemon move, right? Like that will to mess with it somehow.
Oh, supersonic.
There we go. Oh, thank you. I knew it was something. I was like, someone's gonna get Soundwave is a transformer, and Sonic is a hedgehog, and someone is gonna help me put those together.
And Zubats.
So that is engineering magic. That's a 24.
Yeah, okay. And so I really love this idea that like out of the mouth of this tiny fox comes this like ridiculous sound wave a la Siren from the
FF8, yeah.
X-Men or whatever. Yeah. And so what did we say that was? A 24. Okay. So what happens when there's a tie?
Usually it's a reroll.
Okay, let's try. We're gonna reroll. Okay, so that time I rolled another nat 1. That was
I got 25.
Nice. So I think out of nowhere, this fox like opens their mouth and this huge sound beam comes and so what? Let's roll some damage. Like you heard it, right?
Yeah, so I think what it is it's kind of like almost the same thing she did to the ground.
Right.
But so she's like kind of trying to mess with like whatever she can with it. You know what I mean? Just
okay.
Force.
So why don't you roll a d12?
I love a d12.
Because I feel like that would be very hard in the air to recover from. Like being discombobulated. Okay. Love that.
Me too.
Now the harpy is really confused. And so angry. Now there's two harpies, one on the ground, behind a fox.
So I think that like seeing that cover, like really good cover is close, she's gonna say to the foxes, like, we're gonna run. You run. She's gonna say to fox friend, you run. I will catch up.
And fox friend said, no, come on. They're fighting.
We're not gonna sit and watch.
That's your friend. Yeah. We're gonna run. We all have to go.
Okay.
You have
and
to come. You have to come or Fen won't be then. That you'll be missing a part of Fen.
Can I do like a free magic action that's essentially the like equivalent of prestidigitation?
Sure.
So I think in the sky, in clouds, she's going to write, "You've got this, Callie, thanks!" But with all the S's that would be if it was like a text.
Okay, that's a free action. I like that.
She's gonna just book with the other foxes heading north, heading goblin. Heading
goblin. All right, and they're looking at goblin. So I am looking at the time, and I really have would really like to keep doing this. Are people okay to go over a tiny bit tonight? I know that you're tired, but at least some of you are good to
I'm fine to go a little bit over. I think I can. If rolls go well, I think I can probably wrap this up on my next turn with the harpy.
Fair enough. I do want to get to the point where Zan gets to say something, or has some part of this show, at least.
For sure.
No, it's fine. I'm having a wonderful time. It is still just a delight. I am enjoying being surrounded by such wonderful people.
He's the water feature.
Yes.
Yeah, you know?
Okay.
I'm also cool cutscening it to Callie wins the fight if you want to go that route too. I'm good either way.
I want to see Callie fight a little more.
Okay.
If possible, because Callie's been living her best life in this last 2 rounds. So, does she see that you got this, Callie? Thanks.
I think so. Sight's one of her better stats. So
great. And so now it's the harpy's turn, and the harpy is going to do a sonic kind of wave back at you. So the harpy's call is terrifying. So it's like a magic call that is terrifying and sort of makes you freeze, which helps. It helps it eat.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just want to point out this is the third nat 1.
I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that you have 2 advantages.
That's true. I'm saving them for when it's really important.
Oh. I don't. That's concerning. Don't like that.
That's what that's like, Raven. That's what that's like.
So, just saying.
I know.
I think it's go. All right. I think it goes to scream, but.
I mean, I might roll a nat 1 too. Let's see. Nope, I did not. Okay.
I think it goes to scream at you, but maybe the sonic wave that came from Veshna kind of got it set when you go to talk and you're like eh. It's super embarrassing and you're like, oh, I should have cleared my throat first. It's like that. So it goes to scream at you, but it's and it spits out a couple of feathers and it's super embarrassed. It's really embarrassing.
That's hilarious.
That's its turn.
All right. What defense is it going to use?
I don't know because it really doesn't know what to think of you now. I think it's not very smart. I think it's just going to do the melee one again.
Okay, the deflect.
Yeah, deflect, because that's kind of what it knows.
Okay.
If you were a harpy, you would be you're really supposed to be fighting each other with your teeth and claws, and you're not really playing, right? You're kind of cheating.
No.
To be fair.
All right, so Callie's gonna start off just from where she's at and just blast it again with the magic attack. For starters, with an 18 to hit.
Okay. Jesus.
So that's 10 damage.
Who programmed this?
Econorlax, actually.
I know, Econorlax!
Econorlax.
You are a wonderful human being! You are making this too easy for Kelly! But really hard for Veshna. No, this is wonderful. Okay. Yeah, yep, mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't like that at all. And I think,
is it down after that, or does it have more health left? Because I can try to follow up.
It's very injured. And so I think it's going to do something in the air. Roll me a gut check.
Okay, gut feeling 13.
can see that it's sort of like you are now the top harpy in this on these woods, right? So it's sort of like it's the equivalent of like showing its belly.
Okay.
So I think it's sort of like disengaging a little bit. And you are clearly the dominant harpy, even though you are a very strange looking harpy.
Yeah, I think Callie seeing that is just gonna be like, go on, go away.
And it's gonna sort of slink off and look for prey in another place.
Awesome.
Good job, Callie.
That was fun.
So I think are you just like hauling ass now? Foxes?
Yeah, like it is like, and I imagine like similar to when she was like slowly helping like all the woodland creatures. It's sort of like the opposite version of that, where she's like, "Screw you, Thistlebush! Out of my way, small series of pebbles!" Like that.
There's like
errant piece of bark.
There's this very beautiful, like, bucolic butterfly meadow, and you guys just haul ass right through it, and all the butterflies are like, puh, puh, right?
And then I write in pollen, "Sorry," with the butterflies.
And butterflies are like, if only we knew what written language meant.
Right.
And they fall into the, like, all the pollen that's in there. They're like, they're covered in pollen. But you don't know, because you already left. And you haul ass, and you come over the hill, and there in front of you is an enormous lake. You would, in fact, probably, if you didn't know it was a lake, you probably would have said it was a river. I mean, an ocean, but it's freshwater. Right? But you know, like, this has got to be like the lake.
Okay. I think similarly to, like, kind of, like, she's gonna be like, all right, okay,
we're here, yay! And then I think one of the foxes is like, I won!
Yep. And I think Vesha's trying to, like, pry open the thing to pour Finn.
You need thumbs. And the fox is like, be a girl, be a girl, be a girl.
So yeah, I think without even thinking about it, like without even like, I think it's the frustration of realizing she can't do it without thumbs, without even like processing it. Vesh it's like you see the flip book in her mind of like the fox like running across the pages, and then the fox slowly starts to stand upright, and then the fox pauses at an appropriate moment to throw on a shift dress, and then begins, going.
I also really like the idea that when you're done, it's like here, like it was around your torso before, and now it's like super tight on your neck. It's
she like ripped it off and starts like, she's got like 6 of them in her arms, and she's like pouring the fen.
And all the other foxes go, oh, and they all become girls. They're like, that's how you do it. And they all become like fox people, and they're all super naked. But they don't care.
Yeah, I think that,
and they're like, you look so dumb. And they're all like looking at each other, and they're like laughing because they don't have any fur. But they were like, oh, that's how you do it. And now you are suddenly surrounded by a lot of fox people.
I think Vesh is going to be like, pause. Okay, we're gonna put a nope AWS. We'll talk. Okay, reading will be later. Okay,
and they're trying to stand up and
show
falling
them
over.
how to open the thing. She's like, okay, focus, team. All right, bring it in, and pour. Like,
oh my gosh, you look at them. You do not trust them to pour.
No,
they are totally going to pour it onto the ground.
Yeah, I
drink it or whatever. Like they haven't had thumbs before. As you're doing this, like a ripple comes up from the water.
Hey,
and you see like a form, and the form says to you, have you brought the lost budling?
Hi. I think so. Their name is Fen, and they are in all of these jars. So, forgive me for not stopping, but this is kind of a talk and do situation. But I got like 4 left, and then I'll fill you in, and it'll be great. And I think she's just like.
And as you're doing that, they say there is no time for conversation.
She's just pouring Fen in. Keep.
Right, and as soon as the last drop of Fen is in, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're like gonzo. And there's no, like, as soon as Fen started being poured into the river, or into the lake, they, like, were like, yeah, whatever. And they're like, ugh. This is not what, this person does not well. And they completely disappear. And so you are left on the edge of this lake with like a half dozen empty tiny bottles, a bunch of naked people falling all over themselves, and like complete stillness on the water.
Veshna sits exhausted on the edge of the lake and just begins to sob. Just utterly, just done. It's like the kid that has just been, you know what I mean? It's just, we've had enough. We have hit our limit. It's just, we're done. Like this.
And you are tackled by like 3 naked people who push you right into the water.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah! We did it!
Veshna kind of like walks out of the lake and she's like, I need a minute. And she's gonna point to a bush and she's gonna be like, you can eat those. Don't eat anything else. And I need a minute. And she's gonna
You're sitting there by yourself, you can hear the foxes being like, but where are all my other nipples?
Yeah. Yep. She's listening and trying.
I only have 2!
And oversee if something happens, but she's just like, we are.
What if I have 4 babies? What am I gonna do?
It's called time management.
and they're all like just sort of looking at each other. They, you know, they're foxes, they don't care, but they're like, whoa, that's so weird. Callie, what happened to you?
Thankfully for Callie, so that we don't have the nosebleed passing out anime trope, Callie went back to the village, not to where the foxes were, since the harpy situation has been taken care of, and just went back and probably spotted Sage and landed and was like, yep, harpy's taken care of. It tried to get all tough and I just, told it to go away. Aggressively.
And as you're having this conversation, I think Lavender comes over and is like, I think this is for you, and hands Sage a little letter.
Oh.
It came by airmail.
Okay.
And
Callie, you can tell me all about your fight in a second.
And it says, Sage, if you're reading this, I can only assume that you have found Satriel. And I want you to know that the 2 of you are my very best work. I find it is time for you to finish your work abroad and return home for a time. The others did less well in preparing their parents, and their families are quite upset. It would be very reasonable for you to gather them and come back post-haste. Faunus.
We are going to have a team meeting when Veshna and Fen get back.
And so Fen, when you sort of come back into some form of consciousness, the first thing that you hear So when you were little, you loved to sing. But the problem was the rest of your family couldn't really hear it. It was like at a pitch that they couldn't hear very well, and it didn't sound good to them. And I think what you notice is that like the whole water all around you and like in you is all singing at that pitch. And you can hear it really well, and it's really beautiful. And it's like really vibrating, and it's like vibrating the bad things out of you. And I think the other thing is like, the other two things you notice are the water doesn't taste like anything. For the first time, it doesn't like anything. Like when you smell a towel and it smells like somebody else, you're like, oh, this towel's my towel, so it smells like me, right? That's what the water's like. And I think also what you notice is there are many other riverbound around you, but also sort of the edges of you have come together because you're made out of water. So there's like some mixing of the outer molecules of your being, right? As they sort of sing the poison out of you. And as you come, like, what do you do?
I think kind of this whole time, like, I was trying to think of like what it would have been like for Finn, and I think for most of it, it was dirty, muggy trench water, like just awful and dirty and hot and unpleasant. And then I think it got. I don't think Finn really remembers the journey over because they were so divided up. And I think now it feels like that wonderful sensation when you've been like hiking for a little while and you stick your feet into a cold stream that's running really fast and really shallow. Like the rocks are a little slick and the water's moving quick, and it's I think like that sensation kind of brings Finn back, and like it is the kind of feeling the sound kind of bounce off of the edges of the space that is Finn right now kind of reminds Finn of the shape. Like it's like the exact opposite of like a neutral buoyant or of a sensory deprivation thing. Like it is completely aware of the boundaries of where Finn is, because the sound is kind of there. And I don't know, I think it's kind of the sensation of waking up in a hospital room and having people look at you.
Right. And I think the more you come into consciousness too, the more the other forms like pull away and stop, like give you boundaries, right, of your own. Like, okay, and as you sort of come to, they all, all of them except one, sort of move away, and they leave a very small black rock underneath you as they go. And you find that you're sort of in like a side alcove of the, like under the water, like under the beach, right? There's sort of like a little side alcove, and you're there. And there's another riverbound there, and they look at you with a lot of sort of anticipation, and they're like, hi.
Hi? Hello?
Are you better?
I think so. I'm awake. Or I'm aware, so... Hi? What's going on?
Well, you're home.
Okay. I don't think. I have no idea what is happening here. Who are you? Where? Okay, home. Okay, but where? And
I'm Una.
who are you? Una?
I'm the first one. And then you came along. But before you could totally butt off, you disappeared. I've been singing for you for so long, and you finally came home.
Oh, I should have paid more attention when Veshna was talking about communication skills.
We've all been singing for you. Look, and you've come home and look, everyone's been carrying this black rock for you.
Black.
And
What
you
is?
look down and there's this like pile of little black rocks. We've been carrying it till you came home, and today is that day.
Oh. Okay, I feel like there's probably there's some things that I don't know that I would kind of appreciate understanding the context of.
There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time, but you're home now, and I'm so excited. And I've been singing for you for so long, and I didn't know if you would come back, and I can't.
How did I get here? Did anyone did you come to me? Is someone else? Is anyone else here?
Satriel sent some foxes with you because you were very sick.
Oh. Huh. Oh, okay. But no people or no people that like walked on two legs or anything. Okay, you know what? That's fine. I'm sure there's an explanation. It's okay.
But for now, you should rest.
Yeah. Okay.
And I want to show you. I want to show you everything. And look, the flower is growing again, and you're home now, and everyone's so excited. But we're trying not to. I need you to rest up so that I can show everybody that you're back. I mean, they just saw you, but I can't wait.
Oh, and I think as Finn begins to talk, they just kind of dissipate again. It's a lot. It's just a lot, and I don't think that they're. I think if Finn would have been a person, this would have been the point that Finn just passed out. It's like, I'm feeling not as good as I thought.
Right, and I think she's they're totally fine with that, and they're just sort of like, they've been waiting a long time for you to come back. They're fine. They don't care. They just watch you be dissipated to nothingness and be totally delighted by it.
Cool.
And that's sort of like where we'll leave it.
Awesome. That was a lot of fun. We're going to go on a raid here in just a moment. Before we do, I want to give everybody a chance to say what their favorite part was, where we can find them, and anything they'd like to share or plug. And we'll go reverse order from how we started. So we'll start with you, Clappy.
I'm Clappy, and I enjoyed this. I enjoyed sort of pushing the plot along. Thank you, everyone, for playing along. I really enjoyed the all the ridiculous naked fox people that Veshna has now inherited. And I loved Sage and Callie's little moment. I love Beckney's growth, and I can't wait to see what Pyron's gonna do for the naming ceremony. So I'm excited. There's a lot of good things going on and about to go on. I am here on Tuesdays, and on Mondays I am on Zan's channel, trying out a bunch of interesting role-playing systems that don't use a d20 to see how they might be able to be used in the classroom. And sometimes I see Historian is there with us, and it's a good time. So you should check it out. And that's it. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Awesome. Hannah, same questions.
There's a lot of good stuff, and I loved everything with Veshna so much. but I was thinking about this and I suddenly remembered Beckney and Pyron both their bit with the hat. And just how delightful that was, that Pyron had the exact same reaction. Like, are we gonna pull it from a hat? Like, it was just so good and fun. As to where you can find me next, I will be back here on Raven's channel Friday, noon Mountain Time for Neon Devils 2. We took a break last week, so I'm super excited to be back for that show as well, where we're in trouble. I have been drugged, and my little Boulder friend's coming to save me. It's gonna be great, or terrible. Go either way.
Yes, I think is the answer. It's just yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Pat, favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Yeah, I think favorite part for me was the Beckney and Lavender conversation at the beginning, like when Jay had the initial names on a hat, but then just going all off of that, just cracked me up. It's like, so who's picking the name? Do I pick the name? Yeah, and you can catch me not tomorrow, but next Wednesday on my channel. We'll be having the finale of our It Came From Beneath the Sea trilogy of the Neon Knights, not legally distinct from any Borgs or Rangers or beetling superheroes. So that'll be next Wednesday, and on Sunday we'll be back with Urban Shadows Ruby Tooth Bay on my channel, which we've had a few weeks off of that.
Awesome. All right, and then Jay, same questions.
That's tough. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what parts, because I loved all of it. That's the issue. I think it was Sage not talking directly to Fox Veshna, but making it very clear that they were talking to Fox Veshna, and then having this whole like back and forth with the other foxes, and eventually just getting so fed up with them. That was really entertaining to watch. I really like that. Yeah, so where you can find me next will not be this coming, well, technically it'll be this coming Saturday, but I'll let Raven get into that because it's not going to be Animus. It's going to be something totally different. And then, yeah, next week back for more of these shenanigans on Tuesday.
Awesome. And then I see. Favorite part, where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Oh, snap. Okay, so, my two were already taken. I think I loved the whole Pyron and Beckney being like, none of this makes sense, but we understand the word hat. So we're going to zone in on hat, and we're going to control the thing that we understand. I love that. I love Sage, and the cloud watching was really great. I love the idea of Fen coming home, and I could see that setting up some questions. And obviously the Harpy battle was fun. And like being a fox was a good time. So it was all great. And I'm still IC historian. That's still where I am, all of the places that I want to be found. And I also like talking about games and education. And sometimes I do that on my Twitter when I'm not posting pictures of my cat. When people say that they want cat pictures, or when they don't want cat pictures because they're not my supervisor. So yeah, other than that, I'm here. I'm going to be on Pat's channel for Ruby Tooth Bay on Sunday. I'm going to be other places for other things on days that may also not be Sunday. And yeah, there I am.
Awesome. And then Zan, same questions.
Yeah, I'm Zan. I'm a professional GM and content creator for a whole bunch of really great games out there. And you can find me, as Pat has mentioned, Sundays and Wednesdays on his channel. I'm here in this slot on Tuesdays and Fridays in the wee hours of the morn. I am on Polished Cryptid's channel, and Mondays and perhaps other strange days that I find myself burdened with free time, I occasionally stream on my own channel as well. Yeah, and favorite, man. So there were two moments in particular that really stood out. I loved Veshna actively removing herself from a situation, because Veshna is normally like it is the steps in the conversation strategy and like how to do things in a constructive and positive way. And it was just really nice to see Veshna being able to have the agency to say, I need a second before I can do this the walls have got to come down for just a second, and I've got to be an actual fucking person, and then I can go back to being the thing that I need to be for us to have a conversation in the way that you need, but right now I need to break for a second. And I thought that was absolutely wonderful. And I really loved seeing Callie fucking kick ass. That was so cool. Oh man, that was wonderful. I have enjoyed this not being a really combat heavy game, but I'm so happy that we got to see Callie shine the way that she did tonight. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm heartbroken that Finn didn't witness it, but Finn will love to hear the story.
I just want to jump in really quickly and say I hate going first at the end because I love all of it, and then I keep thinking of more things as you talk. But to pull back a little further, I just want to say that my favorite part of tonight really is the fact that it's really nice to play with a cast of people who care so much about letting everyone else's characters grow and learn. And as somebody who wants everyone to feel like they have a spotlight and try to balance stuff, like I slowly die inside when people have to be quiet for 45 minutes straight or like 4 hours. And it's just really beautiful to see, like, this is exactly what I was hoping would happen with this group of people, that we could build this story together, and that we'd have the sense of like when each person gets a chance. So like I hope in the end it all sort of evens out and everyone gets to be a main character and not a side character. But I appreciate that as an ensemble, some episodes are more focused on some characters than others, and I just really love working with all of you and not having to manage that. So thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy that quite a bit as well. I guess that just leaves me. So my favorite part, yeah, the getting to fight as Callie was really, really fun. But especially since I so rarely get to do combat on the side of the GM screen in this system. So it was especially fun to get to be on the player side for combat in Fundamental for a bit. It was literally a blast. So that was a particular highlight for me. But favorite parts, I enjoyed the whole thing. Beckney and Pyron's shenanigans with the bowls or the buckets. Try to figure out how to make it so that Beckney doesn't have to choose the name. That was great. Veshna's stuff with the foxes and just sort of almost like literally herding cats to try to get, Finn rescued. I thought all that was really, really great, and I appreciated also, like Zan was saying, the Veshna being like, I need a minute, like, go eat from that bush, and I'll be right back. I really, really enjoyed that. And yeah, all the stuff with Sage was fantastic as well. I always enjoy when Callie and Sage get to have a cute moment. And I liked the problem solving at the beginning too, with trying to figure out like, all right, how do we save Finn? And then at the end there with Finn was really cool too. I got like some major like Great Link vibes, like sort of DS9 style, which I really thought was cool. And I love the way the description of how the Finn folk sort of communicate and sort of just exist together in their non-humanoid shape. So I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed the whole thing. It was all fantastic. And then where you can find me next will be Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Elite Beveskar. Our next episode for that, which is our Star Wars game. It'll be a lot of fun. Friday, I believe... I need to double check on Neon Devils for Friday. But if that's going on, then that'll be at noon Mountain Time. And there's not Welcome to Madison on Friday night. And then Saturday is my birthday. So instead of our normal schedule, it'll be starting at probably around noon, I think is the time that we set. I'm going to do like a 5 or 6 hour stream just with a bunch of folks that like to play and design tabletop games. Anybody that, if we're mutuals on Twitter or if you're in the Discord or whatever and you want to participate in that, let me know. I'm just going to do one big Zoom call for it. And we're going to hang out and talk about game design and make a one-page RPG or two and then play it. So it'll be really chill and a lot of fun. So that's what's going to happen on Saturday. And I think that was most everything aside from things to share and plug. Sponsors, of course, which I'm going to throw into chat here. Fundamental RPG, which you've just been watching the system. It's the system this game runs on. It's a D20 system that is independent of a genre, so you can run everything from high fantasy like this, all the way over to sci-fi like we have on Saturday nights usually, which is Animus Absentis, and everything in between. Highly recommend picking up a copy. You can do so at Amazon if you want the physical book, or if you prefer the digital version, you can get that at coffee.com/raven, like it says at the bottom of the screen. And until the end of the month, you can pick that up for half off, so you can get it for just under $10, which is a pretty good deal. So there's that, and then at coffee.com/raven is Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life. A bunch of really cool products with tabletop theme to it. And then Die Hard dice, which are my favorite dice to use. You can use the code BLACKFEATHER, all one word, capital B, to get 10% off your entire order at dieharddice.com. And then I highly recommend checking out the Fae Bloom set. It's my current favorite, and the link for that is in chat as well. And then if you want to catch up on this show or others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. And then the last thing to share or plug, because it is new and it's pretty cool, and I'm trying to get more people involved with it, is the Animus Lore and Roleplay server, which is in chat now. There's a link to it. If you enjoy the normal Saturday night show, Animus Absentis, it's a sci-fi world without like aliens or anything like that. It's very close to home, relatively speaking. It's mostly in our own solar system and the Centauri system and little areas around that. So it's a different kind of sci-fi. But there's a whole Discord server full of lore for that universe, and half of it is information about the world and the setting, and half of it is a little playground for or sandbox for role-playing. So you are welcome to join the server, make a character, and have some fun in a really cool sci-fi setting. We're doing a roleplay event right now where big story stuff's happening that's changing the environment, so to speak. So it's a good time to get started. That is my last thing to plug. We're going to go on a raid. Our raid cry is, what are we going to do? It's called Time Management. And we're going to go, let me just make sure they're still online. If my computer would cooperate with me. Looks like they are. We're going to go raid Joshua Simmons, who is someone I follow on Twitter. And they are pretty cool. And Noir Enigma is the GM for the game over there right now, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. So go over there and say hi, throw the raid cry into chat, and follow all those lovely people. And then I will see you all on Thursday. Bye, everybody.